This is Denise Birkhofer, Curator of Modern and Contemporary Art, speaking with Head Preparator Kendall Christian and Assistant Preparator Michael Reynolds regarding the installation of Carlos Garaicoa's Windmills, because every city has the right to be called Utopia. While the work's finalized design, a field of 15 windmills in various sizes, might seem deceptively simple, it required 2 spools of thread, 461 straight pins, and numerous man-hours to create. Kendall, could you outline for us the steps that you took to prepare for the installation?
So the drawings that were included in the package were not to the scale that we wanted the piece recreated. So we contacted the artist and we asked for a graphic file to be sent to us that included the art that could be scaled up to the scale that we needed. So that was the first step. Once we had a file that worked with our printer, we had it printed on a very lightweight paper. We asked for as few pieces as possible so that we didn't have to tile together multiple pieces. We then tiled these together once they got back from the printer. We approved the size. We then prepared to think about exactly how we were going to install this in our space. The scale that was required for our installation was 6 feet high by 12 feet wide. That's what we asked the printer to scale it to. Once we had the drawing in our hands, we leveled it and taped it up to the wall. The paper kind of stretched during printing and during installation, so we had to kind of level the piece in 3 different sections.
So Michael, once the template was up on the wall, you took charge of the creation of the work. Could you tell us a little bit about the various steps involved in the manufacture of the work?
Sure. Kendall and I stretched the paper very taut and taped it down tight because we didn't want it to move at all. Like Denise mentioned, there are 461 pins for these 15 windmills. And some of those pins are very close together, maybe about 1/8 of an inch apart on the smallest windmills, which were about 10 inches high, and the largest ones are maybe 4 or 5 feet high, so the pins are spread out further. We wanted the paper to stay put so that nothing was shifted and distorted, and we had concerns about the drywall screws that were in that wall. It's a 1/4 inch drywall on 5/8 OSB on metal studs. It's a temporary wall we built, and we thought, well, we're bound to hit some of these drywall screws, and we will have to go in and patch them and paint and maybe pull that paper out of the way so that we can do that. And miraculously, we didn't hit any drywall screws. We were able to put in the 461 pins. The pins are located where the thread changes direction and it has to be wrapped around the head of the pin. So that's what we had to go with. And fortunately, where that paper was taped to the wall, somehow Kendall managed to get it in a very sweet spot and it didn't hit any drywall screws. Once the pins are up, we removed the paper and we left the pins in place. We had to tear the paper away from the pins, so it ended up in many small pieces, a few big pieces on the floor. Each of the windmills consists of 30-some pins, and in the center there's a hub, and radiating from that hub there are 3 blades for the windmill, and then there's a vertical post that supports it all. We had to start with the very smallest windmills because they're supposed to be further in the distance, and then some of the strings of the larger windmills might overlap on top of them. The smaller ones are the lighter thread, and the closer ones, the larger ones, are the darker thread. So this was particularly challenging because we hadn't done it before, and there are 12 pins in the hub of the smallest windmill, 12 pinheads that would fit in an area the size of a penny. There's a hexagon. Inside that is a triangle. Inside that is the center point, and then there are a couple extra pins along the bottom for the vertical support. When it comes to attaching the thread, you have to wrap it twice around the pin, and where it starts and where it ends, it has to be tied off. And once it's tied off, we put on a dab of glue that dries clear, holds the knot, and after that dried, then I would come back and snip those tag ends of thread very short, using a little tiny pair of scissors and tweezers.
So, Kendall, visitors to the show will probably ask what's going to happen to this work after the show comes down. Could you talk about that a little bit?
So these pieces like this are a moment in time. They're up for a specific exhibit. Unfortunately, they're destroyed when the exhibit comes down and the space is changed to a new theme.
I'd like to ask both of you, in the end, now that the work is up and the installation is done, would you say that the installation process was more or less difficult than you anticipated it would be?
Well, from my point of view, it was slightly less difficult. The problems of running into screws that were buried in the wall and having to stop and remove those and patch and paint again before we continued. We got very lucky and we didn't have to do that. The wall was a new temporary wall that had only been used once, so it didn't have kind of imperfections and bumps and old screw holes in it. So it was a relatively clean, smooth wall that we had to do minor repair and touch up on before the installation. So Michael may disagree with me, but I'm going to let him answer.
Well, I agree with Kendall that we were lucky that we did not hit any of the drywall screws and have to patch and paint and all of that. But in the 8 years that I've been working here, this was the hardest installation I ever had to do.
I would like to thank you both for your hard work in making the installation of this work possible, and also thank you for this intimate look behind the scenes for our visitors.
Thank you, Denise, and I hope our visitors really enjoy this piece.